I used to think these were real puny, but you know, I'm 79 years old. What matters is that I use them. Thomas Jefferson said, revolution can start in the muscles. When I started the Jane Fonda Workout, it changed many, many women, not just their outsides, but their psyche. There's this sense of, I'm here and deal with it. This one woman, she said, this morning I was brushing my teeth and I saw a muscle in my arm for the first time. And when I went to work that day, I stood up to my boss. It was suggested that I do a video of the workout, and that started the video industry. I'm very proud of that. This is not a real Oscar. I have 2 of them, but they're not here. The Vietnam War was still raging. I put a lot of time in trying to think, should I make a statement about the war? I asked my father, and he said, just say there's a lot to be said, and tonight's not the night. And I very deliberately wore a black wool Yves Saint Laurent pantsuit, very severe. And I said what my father suggested. And I walked off the stage and started crying because it seemed so wrong to me that I had won an Oscar and my father had not. But he did later. My father was very, very ill. He could not attend the ceremonies. And he said, would I receive the Oscar on his behalf? And when they called his name, I think it was probably the happiest moment of my life. Right after I finished making the film Clute, I went on a tour speaking out against the Vietnam War. I was arrested in the airport. He told me that he was taking orders from the White House. There were headlines saying Jane Fonda was smuggling drugs across the border. After all of my vitamin pills had been run through a lab, there was about that much news in the newspaper saying, oh, well, it wasn't drugs, it was vitamins, but still. I got handcuffed and spent the night in jail. There was a whole lot of cameras and journalists standing over here, and I collapsed my hand and took it out of the handcuffs and threw a fist up. I was really feisty in those days. I still am, actually. I co-produced a movie called On Golden Pond. Of course, it co-starred, besides my father, Katharine Hepburn. I was standing in a mirror on the set, kind of fixing my hair and getting ready, and she came up behind me and she took my cheek like this, and she said, this is your box. This is your container. What do you want this to say to the world? But what I realized that Katharine Hepburn was saying to me is, honey, you gotta get a little more self-aware about how you present yourself to the world. When you walk into a room erect, you say, here I am, deal with it. You own yourself. It took me a while to realize what it was that Katharine Hepburn was trying to teach me.